English Each Day presents How One Mistake Led to a Lifetime of Love. I never expected love to begin with the wrong coffee order. It was a rainy Tuesday morning, and I was running on 4 hours of sleep, desperately trying to meet a deadline for a client. My laptop was open on a small wooden table at Bean and Brew, my favorite coffee shop, when I heard my name called. Vanessa. I got up, grabbed the cup without looking, and took a sip, only to nearly choke. Not my usual caramel latte. Too bitter. Too strong. I turned to the barista, ready to complain, when a voice beside me said, I think that's mine. I looked up to see a man, tall, dark-haired, wearing a slightly wrinkled button-down and a warm but amused smile. "You're James?" I asked, reading the name scribbled on the side of the cup. "Last time I checked," he said, taking the coffee from my hand. "And you're Vanessa, I assume?" I sighed, setting his drink down. "Yeah, and I really needed that caramel latte." James chuckled. "Well, lucky for you. I haven't touched it yet." He handed me my rightful order. "So, let's call it even?" I took a cautious sip. Perfect. That was supposed to be the end of our interaction. A small, forgettable moment between two strangers. But fate had other plans. The next time I saw James, it was at the bookstore down the street. I was flipping through a novel when I heard his voice. "Are you following me?" I turned and found James grinning at me from behind a shelf. I rolled my eyes. "Oh, please. If anything, you're following me." He held up a book. "Well, if we keep running into each other, maybe it's a sign." I scoffed. "A sign of what?" He shrugged. "I don't know. Guess we'll find out." That was the second time we met. The third was at a park. The fourth at the grocery store. By the fifth time, James didn't even pretend it was a coincidence. "You know," he said, standing beside me in the checkout line, "you could just give me your number instead of making the universe work so hard." I laughed, but to my own surprise, I handed him my phone. And just like that, something began. I stared at my reflection, smoothing the wrinkles on my dress for the 100th time. Why was I this nervous? It wasn't my first date ever, but something about James felt different. He had suggested dinner at a cozy Italian restaurant, not too fancy, not too casual. Just the right amount of special, he had said, and I couldn't stop smiling at that thought. When I arrived, James was already waiting outside. The way his face lit up when he saw me made my stomach flip. "You look beautiful," he said, opening the door for me. I smiled. "You don't look so bad yourself." We were seated near the window, where the golden glow of streetlights made everything feel warm, almost cinematic. The conversation flowed effortlessly, from childhood stories to favorite movies, from embarrassing moments to dreams we hadn't shared with many people before. But then, somewhere between the pasta and wine, I felt a familiar twinge of hesitation. James noticed. He always noticed. "You okay?" he asked gently. I hesitated before answering. "Yeah, it's just dating feels so complicated sometimes. Like, do people even stay together forever anymore?" James leaned back, studying me. "I think some do. but only if they choose to. Choose to? He nodded. Love isn't just about feelings. It's about choosing someone, even on the hard days, even when it's not perfect. His words settled into my heart, unexpected but comforting. What if love really was a choice? What if, for the first time, I was willing to make it? I didn't say anything, but I smiled. And James, as if understanding what I didn't say, simply reached for my hand. And just like that, something changed. Love is supposed to be easy in the beginning, light, effortless, intoxicating. But with James, it was different. It wasn't just laughter over coffee or stolen glances across a dinner table. It was comfortable silence, deep conversations, and the terrifying realization that this could actually last. That scared me. It had been 6 months since our first date. 6 months of movie nights that turned into morning sunrises, long walks where we shared our wildest dreams, and arguments that ended in understanding rather than distance. And yet, I still couldn't say the words. James never rushed me. He never pressured me. But I could feel it, his patience, his quiet waiting. One evening, as we sat on my couch, the weight of unspoken words filled the space between us. "You're thinking again," he said, his voice gentle. I sighed. "I think too much." "Yeah, but that's one of the things I love about you." I froze. There it was. The word. Love. My heart pounded, and for a moment I wanted to run. Not because I didn't feel the same way, but because I did. James noticed my hesitation, and instead of pulling away, he took my hand. "Vanessa, you don't have to say it back. Love isn't about timing. It's about truth." I swallowed hard. What if I say it and then things change? He smiled, a sad but knowing smile. "Things will change. We'll argue. We'll annoy each other. Life will throw challenges at us. But I'll still choose you. And I can only hope one day you'll choose me too." Silence stretched between us. And then, in a whisper, I finally found the courage. "I love you, James." The relief in his eyes nearly broke me. He exhaled a laugh, pulled me into his arms, and held me like he had been waiting his whole life for those words. And maybe he had. And maybe so had I. Love doesn't erase the past. It forces you to face it. James and I had been together for almost a year now. Saying "I love you" should have made things easier, but instead, it made everything feel more real, and that terrified me. I had been in love before, or at least I thought I had, until it fell apart. One evening, James and I were lying on the couch, his arm around me, the soft hum of music playing in the background. It should have been perfect, but something in me still held back. "You're quiet," James said, his fingers tracing slow circles on my arm. "Talk to me." I sighed. "You ever feel like the closer you get to something good, the more you want to run?" He looked at me, concerned but patient. "Yeah," he admitted. "But I don't want to run from you, Vanessa. Do you want to run from me?" My chest tightened. No. But also yes. I took a deep breath. I was in love once. Or I thought I was. We planned a future, talked about forever. And then one day he just left. No warning. No closure. Just gone. James didn't interrupt. He just listened. I promised myself I wouldn't go through that again, I whispered. That I wouldn't let myself love someone enough to break me. A long silence stretched between us. Then James spoke, his voice steady but vulnerable. I get it. You're scared of losing me. But what if I'm scared too? I turned to him, surprised. James exhaled, rubbing his jaw. My last relationship ended because I felt too much. I was too emotional, too open, too serious. She said she wanted love, but when she had it, she didn't know what to do with it. He gave a small, sad chuckle. So, yeah, I've wondered, what if I'm too much for you, too? Something inside me cracked. He was scared, too, just in a different way. I reached for his hand. You're not too much, James. You're exactly what I need. His eyes softened. Then let me prove that love doesn't always end in heartbreak. And for the first time, I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, he was right. Love isn't just about beautiful moments. It's about the ones that test you, the ones that ask, will you stay? I didn't know why I started pulling away. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was old wounds. Maybe it was the terrifying truth that James was becoming the most important part of my world, and if I lost him, I wasn't sure I'd survive it. So I did what I always did. I ran. The fight. It started with something small. A missed call. A late reply. Excuses that weren't really excuses. James noticed. He always noticed. One evening, he showed up at my apartment unannounced. His face was calm, but his eyes were searching. Vanessa, he said, voice steady, are you pushing me away? I looked anywhere but at him. I don't know what you mean. James exhaled, running a hand through his hair. You cancel plans. You stop answering my calls. You're here, but you're not here. And I need to know, are you trying to leave before I can? His words hit me like a punch to the chest. James, that's not. I stopped because I didn't know how to finish that sentence. He stepped closer. You said you love me.
Did you mean it?
Of course I meant it. I snapped, my voice cracking. But that doesn't mean I know how to do this. James' jaw clenched. Do what, Vanessa? Be in a real relationship? Trust someone who actually wants to stay. I swallowed hard. I don't know how to not be scared. Neither do I, he exploded. But I'm still here. I wake up every day choosing this, choosing you. But love isn't just words, Vanessa. It's actions. And right now, yours are telling me you're already halfway out the door. Silence filled the room. I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that I wasn't leaving, that I could be better, but I couldn't promise that. So instead, I whispered, maybe you deserve someone who doesn't make you question if they'll stay. James flinched, like I had physically hurt him. For the first time since I met him, I saw doubt.
Pain.
The beginning of him giving up. He exhaled slowly. If that's what you really believe, then I don't know what else to say. He waited. 1 second.
2.
3. I said nothing. So, he walked away. And the moment the door closed behind him, I realized I had just broken my own heart. Love is easy to lose when you let fear make decisions for you. For days, James was gone. No texts, no calls, no showing up at my door with his quiet patience and knowing eyes. I went through the motions, woke up, worked, ate, slept, but everything felt muted, like the world had lost its color. Then the wake-up call came. Literally, the call that changed everything. It was a Friday night when my phone rang. I almost didn't answer when I saw James' best friend, David, calling. "Vanessa, it's James," David said, voice tight. "He got into an accident." My heart stopped. What? A car hit him at an intersection. He's at St. Luke's Hospital. I didn't hear anything after that. My legs moved before my mind could catch up, grabbing my coat, running down the stairs, hailing a cab with shaking hands. Seeing James in the hospital. The moment I entered his hospital room, the sight of him nearly broke me. James was lying in bed, a bandage on his forehead, his arm in a sling. He looked tired, pale, but he was alive. Relief hit me so hard I had to grip the door frame to steady myself. His eyes flickered open, and when he saw me, something unreadable passed over his face. "You came," he murmured. Tears burned my eyes. "Of course I came." A small, sad smile. "Didn't think you wanted to be here." His words shattered me. I moved closer, reaching for his hand, without thinking. "James, I never wanted to lose you. I was just—" My voice cracked. "Scared." His fingers curled weakly around mine. "Vanessa, I was scared too." A tear slipped down my cheek. "I love you, James. And I don't want to spend another second pretending I don't." A small, sad smile. "Didn't think you wanted to be here." His words shattered me. I moved closer, reaching for his hand, without thinking. "James, I never wanted to lose you. I was just—" My voice cracked. "Scared." His fingers curled weakly around mine. "Vanessa, I was scared too." A tear slipped down my cheek. "I love you, James. And I don't want to spend another second pretending I don't." For a long moment, he just stared at me, as if trying to decide if he could believe me. Then, despite his injuries, he lifted his hand and wiped my tear away. "Then stop running," he whispered. And this time, I promised him I never would again. Love wasn't about the grand gestures. It wasn't about sweeping declarations or dramatic moments. It was about showing up. After the accident, I didn't leave James' side. I brought him home from the hospital. I made him soup even though he hated soup. I held his hand when he couldn't sleep. And slowly, we stitched ourselves back together. Not perfectly, but honestly. One night, as we lay on his couch, his head resting in my lap, James looked up at me and said, "Marry me." No ring, no bended knee, just a quiet question filled with certainty. I smiled. "Is this your way of saying you love my terrible soup?" He chuckled.
No.
"It's my way of saying I never want to spend another day wondering if you're going to stay." My heart swelled. There was no hesitation this time. No fear. Just love. Yes, I whispered. I'll marry you. James exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for years. He sat up, cupped my face, and kissed me, soft, slow, and with the kind of promise that didn't need words. And that was it. No grand proposal. No audience. Just us. And it was perfect. We didn't want a big wedding. No hundreds of guests, no extravagant venue. Just love, family, and a future we were ready to build together. On a crisp autumn morning, under a canopy of golden leaves, we stood in front of the people who mattered most, his parents, my sister, our closest friends. James held my hands, his thumbs gently tracing circles over my skin. His vows were simple. I choose you, Vanessa. Today, tomorrow, and for the rest of my life. And I said the only thing that mattered. I choose you too. There were no dry eyes that day. And when he kissed me, I knew this wasn't just the beginning of our marriage. This was the beginning of forever. Marriage was beautiful. Parenthood? Absolute chaos. We had always talked about having kids, but nothing prepared us for the reality of four little humans running around like tiny hurricanes. Our firstborn, Ethan, came 2 years after our wedding. He was perfect. Tiny fingers, sleepy eyes, and the ability to make us fall in love with him in seconds. But he also introduced us to a new level of exhaustion. James and I became sleep-deprived zombies. One night, at 3 a.m., Ethan was screaming his lungs out. I was rocking him, whispering every lullaby I could think of, while James stood beside me, swaying side to side like a malfunctioning robot. Try singing to him, I whispered. James cleared his throat, and in the most off-key voice ever, started singing, "Don't Stop Believin'." I burst out laughing. Seriously? It's all I got, he whispered back. And somehow, Ethan stopped crying. That's when we realized parenting wasn't about being perfect. It was about surviving. After Ethan came Lily, our fearless, messy, wild child. Then Noah, our quiet thinker with a heart of gold. And finally, Emma, our little firecracker who could out-argue James by age 4. Our house was never quiet. Mornings were chaotic sprints of missing shoes, spilled cereal, and last-minute homework. Bedtime was a battle of negotiations. One night, James tried to reason with 4-year-old Emma. "Sweetheart, you need to sleep so you can grow big and strong." Emma crossed her arms. "I'm already big, and I don't want to be strong. I want to be a unicorn." James turned to me. "I give up." I patted his shoulder. She won. We were outnumbered, and we loved every second of it. One night, after the kids were asleep, James and I sat on the porch, watching the stars. "Think we're doing okay?" I asked. He smiled, lacing his fingers through mine. "They're loved. That's what matters." And I realized love wasn't just in the big moments. It was in the messy, beautiful, ordinary days. The years passed. Our babies grew into teenagers, then into adults with lives of their own. Our house got quieter, but James and I, we never stopped choosing each other. We found new routines, morning walks, coffee dates, reading side by side. We still danced in the kitchen. He still made me laugh. And every night, we still held hands before falling asleep. One evening, sitting on the porch, James sighed. Feels like just yesterday I stole your coffee order. I laughed. You didn't steal it, you took it by accident. He grinned. Best accident of my life. I leaned against him, my heart full. Mine too. And as the sun set, I knew our love story wasn't just a chapter in our lives. It was the whole book. The kind of love that never really ends. Do you like the story? Subscribe to English Each Day for more heart-melting romances and to practice English with engaging storytelling. Thank you for watching.